In his book Eating Animals, Jonathan Safran Foer delves into the ethical implications of our food choices, specifically focusing on the consumption of animals raised for meat, dairy, and eggs. Throughout the text, he explores various aspects of animal agriculture, including factory farming, animal welfare, environmental impact, and the health effects of a diet rich in animal products. Foer also discusses the history of animal husbandry and the evolution of our attitudes towards animals, ultimately arguing for a more compassionate and sustainable approach to food production. The book begins by establishing the emotional connection between humans and animals, as Foer recounts his own experiences with pets and farm animals. He then introduces the concept of eating animals, noting that while some people choose to avoid meat entirely, most others consume it regularly without giving much thought to the ethical implications. Foer posits that this lack of consideration stems from a disconnect between our emotional connections to individual animals and our consumption of meat as a commodity. Foer next turns his attention to the history of animal husbandry, tracing its roots back to ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia and Greece. He discusses the evolution of animal domestication and the development of various farming techniques over time. However, he also points out that the scale and efficiency of modern animal agriculture have reached unprecedented levels, with factory farming becoming the dominant model in developed countries. Factory farming, also known as concentrated animal feeding operations, CAFOAs, is a highly industrialized system of animal production that prioritizes efficiency and profit over animal welfare and environmental sustainability. Foer provides numerous examples of the inhumane conditions faced by animals raised in CAFOs, including confinement, mutilation, and exposure to extreme temperatures and pollution. He also discusses the negative impacts of factory farming on the environment, such as water pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and soil degradation. One of the most controversial aspects of factory farming is the practice of veal production. Foer describes in graphic detail the suffering endured by veal calves, who are taken from their mothers shortly after birth and confined to tiny crates where they cannot move or interact with other animals. The diet of these calves is also manipulated to produce the desired pale flesh, leading to a host of health problems. Foer also discusses the issue of animal welfare in the dairy industry, highlighting the plight of dairy cows who are impregnated artificially to maintain a constant supply of milk. After giving birth, their calves are taken away so that humans can consume the milk intended for them. The cows themselves endure a cycle of pregnancy, lactation, and separation that takes a toll on their physical and emotional well-being. The book further explores the environmental impact of animal agriculture, including deforestation, habitat loss, and water pollution. Foer argues that a diet rich in animal products requires more resources and contributes more greenhouse gas emissions than a plant-based diet. He also discusses the role of government subsidies in promoting factory farming and the negative impacts of these subsidies on rural communities and the environment. In addition to its ethical and environmental concerns, Foer also addresses the health implications of a diet heavy in animal products. He cites numerous studies linking meat consumption to an increased risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Foer also discusses the role of antibiotic resistance in factory farming and its impact on human health. Throughout the book, Foer offers examples of individuals and organizations working towards more sustainable and compassionate food systems. These include small-scale, pasture-based farms that prioritize animal welfare and environmental stewardship, as well as plant-based meat substitutes and vegan advocacy groups. He also discusses the role of consumers in driving change through their food choices and calls for a more mindful approach to eating. In conclusion, Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer is a thought-provoking and meticulously researched exploration of the ethical, environmental, and health implications of our food choices. By delving deeply into the history of animal husbandry and the realities of modern factory farming, Foer challenges readers to reconsider their relationship with animals and the food they consume. Ultimately, he argues for a more compassionate and sustainable approach to food production that prioritizes the well-being of both animals and the planet.